finding all those rabbit holes.
Yeah, yes.
Preferably not falling into them.
I love falling into a rabbit hole. I've got to say, I can lose days to a rabbit hole, but I enjoy it. And you're right, because you have to come back out of the rabbit hole. Because otherwise, how do you apply anything? If you just stay down in the rabbit hole, then you're not actually in life, you're just down the hole. And so you have to be able to kind of like apply it to your life at some stage and come back out of it.
Take what you need from it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But we can get lost there.
Yeah. Have you got any favourite rabbit holes?
Oh, so many. I think I love a good conspiracy theory. Funnily enough, not because I'm a conspiracy theorist, but because I think that there's this half truth about so many aspects of so many different things. And I think it used to be, if you talked about aliens, like when I was little, if you talked about aliens, then it was just a fun conversation that people had at the dinner table. It'd be like, oh, imagine if we went into space and we met these aliens, and what would you say to them, and how would they be on planet Earth? And all of those kind of things were just like fun conversations. Now, if you mention aliens, even in passing, it's like, oh God, like get your tin hat out. You must be a conspiracy theorist. And it's like, why have we suddenly decided that any conversation about anything that is not just the accepted norm is suddenly like you're a pariah because we can't talk about that? And I hate that kind of culture of like anything that we don't know, like want to talk about isn't kind of where we're at right now. We're just going to bury it under a title that means that if you talk about it, we're going to categorize you in a way that means that you are now on the outside. And we're all going to be on the inside because we're good and talking about the right things.
Yeah. My God, do I want to stay on the outside?
Yeah.
Please don't ever put me on the inside. Do you think that has got worse in the last 5 years?
I think
due to changes that happened.
Yeah, I think that what I have seen happening is that we have started to put lots of things in the bucket of conspiracy theory that were never in the bucket before and that just weren't a thing before. And of course, we've had the whole COVID thing. And so there's been loads of stuff around, are you an anti-vaxxer or a vaxxer? And are you buying into all of this stuff? And then suddenly there was this kind of explosion of like how to talk to your loved ones about being a conspiracy theorist and all of these kind of things. And I found that almost more crazy than the idea that we would just sensibly talk about, is this something that we should be forcing on people, or is it something that actually we maybe want to think about a little bit more? And that to me was a sensible conversation to have.
I agree.
We should have those conversations. And so to see there being this really divisive thing being put into play where people couldn't even talk about it without suddenly being the subject of derision and of hate towards you was way crazier to me, way crazier. Like, we should have those conversations. It's only right to have those conversations. And you land wherever you want. Of course, you land wherever you want. And that's fine. And whatever you feel is right for you should be the thing that is right for you. Yeah. But the fact that we couldn't even talk about it without being thrown in a bucket was crazy.
Yeah, it was very, very polarising, wasn't it?
So polarising. Yeah. Yeah. And there were conversations that just, even just in the pub, where it was kind of like, well, obviously, have you got your, well, don't come near me. It's just like, I get it. And it's not that I don't understand it or how people were scared, of course. But for it to have been so heavy on the hate, and that's another thing that is everywhere at the moment, is this kind of like hate stuff towards everything and everyone. And it's just, I'm like, oh, it does my head in. Just
I think it's come more out of that because people were so polarised. It was easier to form those like and don't like beliefs. Yeah. And it's built from there.
Yeah, yes, for and against. Yeah. And I do think that has forever been thus as well. I mean, you've got to pick a side, right? You're in the war, you pick a side in the war. You're in any kind of battle that you're in, you pick a side. And if you float between and you haven't made your mind up, then sometimes that's almost seen as worse, like that you're just not standing anywhere. And I understand that too, but when you've got just two very clear sides and you're being asked to pick a side and you don't really want to because neither of them sound particularly appealing, then where are you and how do you manage that? And it's hard.
Yeah, I agree. It's almost as though it's a sign of weakness if you don't choose to be on one side or the other, isn't it? And sometimes, I mean, let's face it, the choices that you're given, neither of them are appealing, are they?
Yeah, and also I don't think that often we are in a position to make an informed decision about things because we don't have enough information, or there's too much information to be able to go through it all and come to an informed decision. It's like when we had the kind of vote on Europe and things like that. I didn't vote because I didn't feel like I knew enough about it to be able to cast a vote that actually was representative of what I actually felt and knew would be the right thing, because I didn't know.
Yeah, it seemed to come about very quickly, that.
Yeah, it did.
And it's a huge topic, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, very divisive, very divisive. Whether you were for or against, people were vitriolic in the way that they treated you.